going to be there by 3?
We won't be there by 3.
Oh, why? Is it early?
Go through the barrier, I'm not sure.
That's fine.
Well practiced.
Here, darling. Will mine be working?
Wait, I'll use my other card. That's so weird. My debit did not work.
Yeah.
You alright?
Yep.
Don't forget to tap out to the rest. It's a shame it's not like this on the underground all the time.
Yeah, I
It
know.
would be absolutely packed to the shoving.
This is the
wouldn't
best
it?
time to travel.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't think so. Yeah, they're still suggesting to wear masks, but I think once you're sitting.
Yeah, this is the perfect station, this is. Because we want to cross here.
But wait.
I need to get close so I can give you some enjoyment.
I agree.
Would you be a bit? Do you want to tilt it up a bit? Yeah, I think so. That's where the lights are going to be. Then you can see me around them. Are you cold? Or are you alright?
This one doesn't have much of a line.
No, it's better actually. You don't have to hold it all composed.
I'm confused. Changing the time.
Oh, brightness maybe a little. I'm really going to look back at this.
Celebrate 12 days of Christmas, so it ain't over yet. Goes on until January the 6th. All 12 days. So this is the third day of Christmas. My true love gave to me. I can't quite remember. I should know. It's meant to be my job. Anyway, here we are Heading towards Trafalgar Square, the junction straight ahead of us marks the official centre of London. All distances to and from London are measured from this point. To be precise, a statue of a king, King Charles I. Now, he was beheaded in 1649, executed in public, the bitter and bloody culmination of the English Civil War. There then followed a 10-year period in England's history where Christmas was in effect outlawed by the Puritan government of Oliver Cromwell. Christmas is a time for making merry, that is. And for good measure, the Puritans also shut down the theatres and banned dancing. So, by my criteria, that's what you call killjoys. Anyway, it only lasted for 10 years, and then the restoration took place in 1660.
6 years later,
And Merry Christmas returned to Merry England. So here we are, the entrance to Trafalgar Square here, marking the official centre of London, the statue of Charles I, and there in the square, the simple but effective Norwegian spruce Christmas tree. That tree, many people mock it for its simplicity, but I think that's part of part of its charm, to be honest. It's a gift from the people of Norway, and it's a tradition that goes back to 1947, just following the end of World War II. It's an act of gratitude for the assistance given to the Norwegian resistance during the Nazi occupation of Norway during the Second World War. The bright lights on the far side of the square mark the location of the German Christmas market. Ausgezeichnet und ganz gemütlich auch, ja! Fine sausages, super beer and mulled wine, they call it blue wine.
I think we're going to have to visit it.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to go past it. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's Charles I on his horse, looking towards Whitehall, the street where the axe fell on his neck on January the 30th, 1649. This is the official centre of town. And a wonderful panoramic view of Trafalgar Square to the right, as we say goodbye to Trafalgar Square for the time being, as we head towards a street called Pall Mall, or Pell Mell. It takes its name from a game called Pell Mell, which was played during the 17th century. A game said to be similar to croquet, but more energetic. The game of Pall Mall has died out, but the name remains, and today's Pall Mall famous for its prestigious clubs. This is Pall Mall. On the right-hand side is the Crimean War Memorial, not to be confused with Crimea River. That's a song from the 1950s. And there is the eponymous Lady with the Lamp, the statue there on the right of Florence Nightingale, a woman regarded widely as the founder of modern nursing. She served in the Crimean War. So there on the right, the first of the sumptuous Christmas trees we will encounter on this glorious tour. As we head towards Piccadilly Circus with illuminated angels above our heads. Marvellous stuff. Well, the official centre of London is the southern flank of Trafalgar Square, but for me the ambient centre of London has to be Piccadilly Circus with its bright lights, crowds of people day and night, and the elegant if petite statue of an angel, the Angel of Christian Charity, better known to Londoners by its sobriquet Eros. We'll be there in a minute or two.
Look at each other. You just there.
been nice to have done before Christmas. You can still do it again.
So the statue of Eros, as we Londoners like to call it, the Angel of Christian Charity, its official title, is very much a symbol of London and the West End. It's a memorial erected to a man called Ashley Cooper, the 7th Earl of Shaftesbury. Very important 19th century social reformer. And there we see the picture postcard view of London, the elegant silhouette of the angel starkly against the bright lights of Piccadilly Circus itself, and the rain washed pavements creating wonderful, abstract, colourful reflections under the feet of the pedestrians. So real picture postcard view of the West End there. Piccadilly Circus on the right hand side. And now we're on Piccadilly itself. This is the main thoroughfare of the West End of London. And many of the churches here in the West End have had wonderful Christmas services with splendid Christmas music, like the church on the left-hand side, the Church of St James, Piccadilly.
It'd be cool to come into London and go to midnight mass.
Yeah. That's lovely.
Oh, that's stunning, that is.
And Fortnum Mason's on the left-hand side with its wonderful lit facade, a kind of visual pun on an advent calendar. Very tasteful and very colourful.
to look.
They're a bit too fast.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely still going to be. I think it's a good idea to have the chips would have been too much.
I don't know. You don't enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And on the left-hand side now, Caviar House, where you can find tins of beluga, and you can buy a lobster sandwich there for £40. That's right, £40 for a lobster sandwich. It does come with chips, so it better be good. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And there's the Ritz Hotel on the left-hand side, founded by the eponymous Caesar Ritz in 1906. The very word Ritzy has entered the English language as a word to describe luxurious living. And on the left-hand side now, Green Park, the smallest royal park in central London. Green Park is called Green Park because it's a park and it's green. Yes, that's what it says on the label. It's also called a royal park because the land belongs to the royal family, or the crown as we say, but it is nonetheless open to the public. Most of the royal parks became open to the public in the course of the 17th century. Before that, they were private affairs, just of the king, the queen, the royal entourage, and their invited guests. Look into the park and admire the old-fashioned lamps which light the pathways. Not only are they old-fashioned in design, they're still powered by gas, not by electricity as you might expect in the 21st century.
No, it might join it. It is actually.
The burnt-out ends of smoky days, the smell of steaks in alleyways, the lonely cab horse steams and stamps, and then the lighting of the lamps. So said the poet T.S. Eliot. Perhaps on a night not unlike this, in old London town. We're now heading towards Hyde Park Corner, the central feature of which is a triumphal arch in the Roman style called the Wellington Arch, named in honour of Arthur Wellesley, the first Duke of Wellington, the man who led the army which defeated the army of Napoleon Bonaparte at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, the final battle of the Napoleonic Wars.
It doesn't bend in that direction. I'm not quadruple jointed.
On the left-hand side, the gardens of Buckingham Palace, the largest private garden in central London. As you can see, the wall is surrounded with barbed wire to keep out Prince Andrew. When the Duke of Wellington returned from battle, flushed with the glory of victory, he purchased a splendid house on the edge of Hyde Park, and there it is on the left-hand side, Apsley House, the home of the man who defeated Napoleon Bonaparte, and his descendant, the present-day Duke of Wellington, still lives there. Le Duc de Nanjou habite encore dans cette maison, as they say in France. On the left-hand side now, we see the Queen of Mother Gates. They date from 1994, erected in honour of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, the mother of our present Queen. She lived to a very great age, 101 years. Towards the end of her life, she was asked the secret of her longevity. She put it down to two things: gin and tonic, so now you know. Hyde Park on the left-hand side. It's the largest royal park in central London and the first royal park to become open to the public in the year 1633. Before that, it was a private affair, just for the king, the queen, the royal entourage, and their invited guests. Lighting up what would otherwise be the midwinter gloom of Hyde Park at night time, we see the famous Funfair, the Winter Wonderland Funfair, which runs from now until January the 3rd. It stretches the complete length of Hyde Park north to south, and is becoming something of an annual thing.
Look at it all lit up.
Yeah, exactly.
There are a few funfair things there.
Do you remember the fairground?
Just
Maybe in the coast. That's
Still not.
it looks fantastic to me, doesn't it?
But you still want to see it
That's like Christmas.
Yeah.
This could be another time, couldn't
Carry
it?
on that one throughout the year.
It could. A different time of the year. It looks fantastic. It's lovely, isn't it? That looks amazing. Yeah, it'd be nice to go on the wheel, wouldn't it?
Look at that.
So if your idea is being whizzed around at high speed on a roller coaster in sub-zero temperatures, the Winter Wonderland Funfair is the place for you.
Remissa came here then.
Yeah.
Did she go on some of the past rides then?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, she did the roller coaster ride.
Probably good fun that. It's quite big, isn't it?
The thing is, I don't enjoy them now because it's sick.
Yeah, no point if it's sick, is there? There's a little one there. Do you remember that little one we went on?
Yeah, that was so
That was
scary.
nice, the big one. Oh, look at these.
Yeah, I love
Another trifle art in the Roman style. Straight ahead of us this time, it's the Marble Arch. It used to stand at the entrance to Buckingham Palace, but relocated here in 1851, the year of the Great Exhibition, which took place in Hyde Park. The Marble Arch at Mound on the right-hand side, the Great White Elephant of 2021. This artificial hill was intended as a tourist attraction. You walk up the top of the artificial hill and walk down again and pay £8 for the privilege. People ask themselves, well, is that worth it? People demanded refunds, and admittedly the refunds were given. And then they made it free, and hardly anybody goes up it now, so £6 million worth of taxpayers' money wasted, and the people who came up with the idea are now in hiding, enjoying police protection.
That's nice, isn't it? In real life, it's defined, isn't it?
This is Oxford Street, London's principal shopping street, 1.5 miles of shops, but alas, only one pub. Something not quite right there. And for the entire 1.5 miles, it is drenched in Christmas illuminations.
Look how busy it is, look at the number of people. This is Oxford Street. Used to be loads and loads of electronic shops. Probably still is. Now these are nice, the trees that they made.
Go and sit between the ladies. Then I'll take a picture. What?
It's about to drop off.
This year, the lights were turned on in a synchronized ceremony. The switch was thrown by one distinguished person. That distinguished person was no less
There's another candy.
than Andrew Smith, the Lord Mayor of London. Or rather, the Lord Mayor of Westminster, I should say. Did it right, Matthew? Pardon me. The Lord Mayor of Westminster, Andrew Smith.
Well, it's different.
So, with the flick of a switch, London was plunged into an ocean of rich Christmas colour.
It's good to just come in late with a couple of money bags, isn't it?
One of my favourite department stores in London is Selfridges. There it is. There it is on the left-hand side. The building dates from 1911. It was a project of the American entrepreneur Gordon Selfridge. And the sale is on already. Bargains to be had post-Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's good.
This is Boxing Day, isn't it?
Well, yesterday, Boxing Day, holiday, yeah.
So shops are selling.
Yeah, it's all Boxing Day snow.
So you might say literally a forest of light, the bare winter branches of the trees, wrapped in colourful fairy lights of every possible hue, orange, turquoise, gold, violet, purple, red, crimson, and the streets crammed with bargain hunters. Now the sales have begun.
It's good actually, the guy who's doing the story.
Funny.
He is funny. He's got a perfect English accent, doesn't he?
And the union.
Yeah, very good. I wonder how many trips they've seen the blue.
Oh wow, true.
Lovely, isn't it?
How they do the thing is ring pop.
Oh yeah. I tell you what, I'm ever so glad that we went for a pee-pee.
So the area to the right of us is known as Mayfair. It was the site of a farmers' festival held during the month of May up until the 18th century. The story goes it became notorious for drunkenness and rowdy behaviour and was abolished. Then the area on the right, which has hitherto been farmland and open pasture, was developed into this splendid residential district we know today still as Mayfair. A similar story to the left, the area called St Marylebone, which many people call Marleybone. And that's wrong, but if they want to call it Marleybone, I don't particularly care. That was developed in the 18th century as well by the Earls of Oxford, who owned the land, and incidentally that's why this street is known as Oxford Street. Shortly we'll be approaching Oxford Circus, the heart of the shopping district, the intersection of Oxford Street and Regent Street, where you'll find some of London's most elegant architecture. The John Lewis lights on the left-hand side, wonderfully minimalist, a sheet of pastel tone. Well, I remember when I first came to Oxford Circus as a child, I was bitterly disappointed. My parents took me there and I was expecting some form of entertainment involving acrobats and clowns. Of course, it's not that sort of circus, Oxford Circus. In this case, circus simply means a round junction, a circular junction. From the Latin circus, which in Latin means round. So there you have it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Building.
I want that one.
Oh, that's lovely.
And it captured the Oxford Street.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, nice. Well done. This is nice, isn't it?
And so into Regent Street, and once again we're joined by the Overhead Angels. Regent Street takes its name from the time of the Hanoverian kings, George I, George II, George III and George IV. Now George III ruled approximately around the second half of the 19th century. Towards the end of his life he developed a serious illness, which some people called madness. He was unable to perform his duties as head of state, so his oldest son, the heir to the throne, also called George, did the work for him, and not very well as it goes, but that's by the by. During this period, when the heir apparent ruled in his father's stead, this period is known as the Regency period. The title conferred on him was Prince Regent, and that's where we get the name Regent Street, Regent's Park, Regency fashion, the list goes on. Hamley's toy shop on the left-hand side, bringing back very fond childhood memories for me. It vaunted itself once upon a time as the world's largest toy shop, which was indeed the case, but many years ago. Nowadays there are many bigger toy shops in soulless shopping malls around the world, but none match the charm of Harrods, in my humble opinion. Hamley's on the left-hand side, Hamley's toy store, once the biggest toy store in the world, but no longer the case, still the most charming, I would say. As we head down once more towards Piccadilly Circus, and on the right-hand side, that's Mayfair still. On the left-hand side, an area known as Soho, which takes its name from a hunting cry from the 16th century, similar to the tally-ho hunting cry with which most of us are familiar. Soho! So there you have it.
All of you could have a nice shop.
Oh, thank you.
Well, Soho is no longer a hunting ground. In fact, it was said to be one of Henry VIII's favourite hunting grounds back in the 16th century. In subsequent years it was developed, still keeping the name Soho, and today's Soho famous for its idiosyncratic pubs, restaurants, nightclubs and some world-class music venues, including Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club in Fleet Street.
Come out quite well.
Yeah.
Good. Of course it did. Well done, you. Oh, it's lovely this.
I know.
I enjoy it. This is better than the Disney on Ice, probably.
Make sure you say thank you to Mama. It was her idea to come.
That's not bad one. It's a bit like working Cambridge.
And so the glorious architecture of Regent Street curves gracefully to the left as we find ourselves once more approaching Piccadilly Circus, the hub of the West End, the hub of the entertainment district.
It's nice as well. I like the shape, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks like an artwork.
That's, I wonder where they store
Same place.
all this.
Wanna go down and ask them?
Yeah. Even this
I prefer
is
this.
not
That's
really
really
to be.
That's really
Isn't it?
Yeah, I do think so.
But you're getting me the word. Because you put a picture in and my phone.
Maybe the other
I like that you captured it.
That's a job, isn't it? This is good. The camera is recording everything, even the screen.
And there we have Eros, boarded up for some reason. I don't think they want too many people to gather around the base. I don't know, maybe a COVID precaution or something. It was originally designed as a fountain, but the fountain didn't work. They've tried to fix it once or twice, but I think they've given up. So just behind us, Shaftesbury Avenue, the principal street of London's theatre district. To the left, that road leads to Leicester Square, where you'll find many of the prestigious cinemas.
He's been on the construction course that says hamburgers go faster. He did attend that course, yes.
And once again, we return to Trafalgar Square and the junction ahead, as I said, the official centre of London. All distances to and from London are measured from the statue of Charles I, which we'll see again in a few moments on the right. Now we're going to go off the advertised route in a moment, down the Strand. We've had to adjust the route slightly, but going down the Strand is a lovely experience, and also we get to see the river as well, which we don't normally do. And again on the left, dominating the skyline, apart from, of course, Nelson's column, is the Norwegian spruce Christmas tree. Trafalgar Square itself was named in honour of to commemorate a famous naval battle which took place off the coast of Spain during the Napoleonic Wars, the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805. And Horatio Nelson led the Royal Navy to victory. And there he is, his statue at least, on the top of Nelson's column.
Oh yeah, that's a lovely picture there. And hamburgers go faster.
I totally agree. Totally.
Well, that's not real.
Let's all go down the Strand, says the old Cockney song. This is the Strand. Hard to believe that this was once a country road between Westminster and the city, when there were two distinct settlements, separated by fields and farms. In fact, the church in Trafalgar Square is called St Martin in the Fields, which gives us a clue to the rural nature of this area in days gone by.
It's been built up since,
We're gonna
isn't
do
it?
it. Have a look at that.
Very interesting.
The Lions
The Strand is a Pan-Germanic word meaning beach or water's edge, recalling the days when the River Thames used to be much wider. This sort of ran along the banks of the Thames. And there's the Charing Cross on the right-hand side, or Memorial Cross to Queen Eleanor of Castile, the original dating from the Middle Ages. That's a 19th century reimagining of it. And there is a totally psychedelic Christmas tree on the right-hand side. I'm not sure it's to my taste. My taste tends to be somewhat more conservative.
I know.
How did you find it? Was it just on TikTok or something?
So this is the eastern extent of the theatre district. The West End stretches from Piccadilly, where we were earlier on, to this area in the east known as Covent Garden. And within the West End there are 50 or so major theatres, many of which are renowned throughout the English-speaking world. Beyond lies the financial district. We're not going there because it doesn't have very interesting lights. Because the financial district, they say, the City of London, as it's also known, is where you go to make money. The West End is where you come to spend money. You go to the city to work. You come to the West End to play. So this is the full extent of the West End. Post-Christmas. And on the right-hand side is Bush House, the home of the British Broadcasting Corporation's World Service Radio. Broadcasting throughout the world in 43 languages, but it's since moved. In 2012 it relocated to the north of England. The incredibly elegant stone building on the right, originally the home of the BBC World Service. Looking across the light, straight ahead is the London School of Economics and Political Science, one of the most prestigious universities in the English-speaking world. It's often called just the LSE for short. Former students of the LSE include J.F. Kennedy, Bill Clinton, Osama bin Laden, and for a while Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones was a student at the London School of Economics. He was a student at the LSE. He was slightly dyslexic. He thought it was the LSD. The official church of the Royal Air Force on the left hand, St. Clement Danes Church. And now we are going to have a brief but rather splendid look at the River Thames. Not normally on the itinerary, but the itinerary is slightly varied tonight. So this is the Victoria Embankment, essentially a land reclamation scheme which took place between 1862 and 1870, creating a new thoroughfare on the north bank of the River Thames, greatly reducing the width of the river as a consequence of its construction. Between here and Charing Cross, let's say up towards Big Ben, in places the River Thames is only about 2/3 of its natural width. It used to be much wider. In fact, as I said before, it used to go almost up to the edge of the Strand, and that's what the Strand means, beach or water's edge.
Seems so, yes.
The elegant Somerset House on the right-hand side, a beautiful 18th century neoclassical building, is often described as London's first purpose-built office block. It was completed in 1776. It has one of the finest Christmas ice rinks, incidentally, in the London season. Underneath Waterloo Bridge we go. This bridge dates from the 1940s. It was built by a labour force of women during the Second World War, there being a shortage of male labour because of the war effort. And over the river to the south bank, again more brilliant lights. Let's not forget South London and beautiful illuminations in front of the Royal Festival Hall there. This view in days gone by would have been factories and warehouses. The area was redeveloped following the Second World War as a centre for the arts. So today, where we see theatres and concert halls, in days gone by we would have seen factories and warehouses. Well, we'll be back. We've come in a few minutes earlier than anticipated. The post-Boxing Day traffic has been very light, but we've seen it all. This will be back a few minutes earlier than expected. Very unusual to see traffic so light in London.
Good though. I'm happy with that. You?
So Embankment Gardens on the right-hand side, not wishing to labour the point, that would have been underwater before this embankment was completed in 1870 by the engineer, and of course many people working for him, Joseph Bazalgette. So Christmas is many things. The celebration, of course, of the birth of Christ just over 2,000 years ago in a humble stable in Bethlehem. In Northern Europe, the so-called pagan tribes would celebrate the winter solstice with feasting and merrymaking at the darkest time of the year. And the Saturnalias of ancient Rome, which took place on, yes, December the 25th, all combining different cultures, different traditions into what we know and hopefully love as Christmas today. And as I say, it's not over yet. There are 12 days of Christmas, of which this is the third. And so we come to the end of the tour, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. If you've had fun, join us again, maybe on one of our daytime tours, which are starting again next month. Also, if you've had fun, feel free to make a modest contribution to what we call euphemistically the Driver and Guide's Christmas Tea Fund as you leave. All donations gratefully received, no matter how modest, if of course your conscience permits. It's entirely up to you. Please remain seated until we're safely at the curbside. And take care on the stairs, they're very steep. I'll be waiting at the door to bid you farewell, and we wish you all the best for the coming year.
If you are travelling with heavy luggage using the available lifts, jewellery platforms at interchange level, then please take good care.
The Circle Line is severely delayed due to train cancellations. The Northern Line line is delayed between Campbelltown and Wellington by Trafalgar Cross, but with Vita seats not going there. The Dark Line engineering works on DLR, Jubilee,
It's so hot.
It's hot. Might not need a jacket when we go through to the other.
You want to hold the key? So I have two keys there.
Do you trust me?
I do trust you. Well, I married you, isn't it? Do you, you got the two keys here. There.
Oh, I got locked.
Cool, yo. You might need to, gas lighting. Thank you.
Oh, look. It is a nice view. It is
Wonderful.
a nice view. Oh, nice TV too. Now me look first, me.
Mamma Mia.
Doors closing.
Mochi mochi.
Going up.
Well, obviously,